Bonjour à toutes et à tous et bienvenue dans nos Plaisirs Coupables où nous parlons de plaisirs coupables dans le cinéma. Aujourd'hui c'est une émission spéciale où j'accueille Joon-Ho qui vient de gagner le grand prix à Gérardmer. Donc je vous invite à découvrir notre interview par rapport à son film et son rapport au cinéma.
오빠? 고칠 수 있는 거죠? 램수면?
네.
남자 둘을 데리고 사네?
내 딸 죽일 거예요? 조용히 살고 싶다.
Jason, hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet you and also thank you to be here for the interview.
Thank you so much for having me.
And for especially congrats for your prize at Gérardmer.
Merci beaucoup.
Just to start, so your film is called Sleep.
Yes.
It goes on the cinema theater at 21 February in France, and it's your first movie. It is your first experience on cinema, or do you manage some short movies before, or do you work as technician before, or just take the leap to directing this movie?
My first experience with filmmaking is my university years where I joined a unofficial filmmaking club. I never went to film school and our school never had a film department, but we had some people who were interested in making films. So what we did was we made short films every semester and then we would have a small little film festival with about 4 to 5 films that we made. We would give each other awards and be very happy or very sad that we either won or we didn't win. And that was my first experience in filmmaking. I think because of my love of creating short films at that time, it really inspired me and made me want to become a filmmaker. So when I graduated from university, I decided, unlike my peers in the university, I wanted to continue to work in the film industry. So my first job was to become an assistant director for Korean film Okja, directed by Joon-Ho. And that is my, I think, second experience in filmmaking. And after that, it was, I did a lot of jobs here and there, for example, creating English subtitles for Korean films, a lot of mainstream Korean films, and the most memorable time during my English subtitle phase was creating subtitles for Burning by Lee Chang-dong.
Burning, yeah.
Yes. And I also did some, how should I say, I was a sound coordinator, which was working in a sound studio and being an intermediary between the sound mixers and the director. So I did those kind of jobs too. So I had some experience in filmmaking before beginning Sleep.
And it was on purpose to manage different working before go to direction?
No, actually, it was a very personal reason. During my time at Okja, which was 2.5 years, I realized that being an assistant director is very time consuming. Right after Okja, my then girlfriend, now wife, who's visiting me in Paris even today, she had to travel to the United States, États-Unis, I think, and study. And so we had a long distance relationship, and I realized if I continued to be an assistant director, the timing wouldn't work. I needed to be on call 24/7 so that we could communicate freely. So I decided that I would do jobs with flexible hours, such as creating English subtitles or working in a sound studio.
Okay. And how long did you take to go to assistant director to directing?
I started my work in Okja in 2015 and it ended at 2017. And we began pre-production of Sleep in 2021. So how long is that? 4 years, I think.
Years,
yeah, 4 years.
Okay. Sleep, so it's your first movie. And during the watching, I saw a big inspiration of many movies. So I would like to ask you if you got a lot of inspiration about this movie. You talked in a previous interview at Premiere that you like a lot, and of course, if you manage with him, the cinema of Joon-Ho.
Yes.
So if it was inspiration for the movie also?
It wasn't a conscious influence. I never said to my cast and crew, okay, this film is going to be like a Bong Joon-Ho film, or this scene, we should refer to a scene from, for example, The Host. It was never like that. But I think my generation of filmmakers, we grew up watching Bong Joon-ho films. Although I discovered him pretty later in my life, still he was a major influence and still is my favorite director who created my favorite films. I always watch his films, even to this day.
Yeah, I understand,
I think I watched each one of his films at least 20 times each, and with Okja I think more than 100 times, just because I was a assistant director. So his films are kind of flowing in my blood, I think. So because he's such a great director, I think on a subconscious level I try to mimic him and imitate him and try to create films like he does. And I guess if there are resemblances to Bong Joon-ho films, it's probably because of my love for his films.
Your movie Sleep, it's talk about sleepwalking. Why this subject? Because it is about a personal experience, or it's just like to talk about a darker subject for the audience?
I think if there is a personal aspect to it, maybe because I have some nasty sleep habits myself, nothing as dangerous as sleepwalking, but
we hope so.
Yes, I have. I'm a loud snorer, and I have apnée du soleil or sommeil. Sometimes I stop breathing when I sleep, which terrifies my wife. When this happens, she can no longer sleep for a very long time. So I deprive her of sleep because of my sleep habits. And maybe there was a nugget of inspiration there. But I think the biggest influence is the shocking stories you hear about sleepwalking patients. I think everybody hears them at least once or twice in their lives, whether from the internet or news articles. You know, somebody drives in their sleep to murder someone, and it just feels very unreal, but it's real, and you can't help wonder what the everyday life of these people look like. But more importantly for me, I was more curious about the people who had to be with them, their loved ones who had to be by their side. What would their lives look like, and how would their everyday even function? And I thought exploring this would create a fun horror film. Okay.
You talk about a fun horror movie, and you said also your Sleep is a feel-good horror movie. So what is your definition of feel-good movie?
First and foremost, I wanted to create a fun, entertaining horror film. Mm-hmm. But I think my love of feel-good films has influenced this horror film to become like a weird, feel-good, almost romantic film as well. So it's a weird mix where people sometimes have to ask about the genre of the film, and especially I remember the Korean marketing team having an incredibly tough time trying to figure out a genre and an approach to market the film. I think feel-good films are where the characters are well-intentioned, they are warm-hearted, you know, good protagonist and evil antagonist. Everybody is maybe usually kind and warm-hearted, but the situation is just very stressful, and we have to see the characters try to overcome this situation instead of them battling out with each other. You talked about guilty pleasures earlier. Those are my guilty pleasure films, and those films usually have this, despite how tough the situations get, they always have a warmth to them. It's like a warm blanket over these characters. And I can feel the director or the writer have a warm gaze. They look at their characters in a warm gaze. Despite how stressful everything can get, it makes the whole film feel good to some extent. So I really liked that. And I think I wasn't really consciously trying to put that in the film, but I guess my love for those films sneakily found their way into Sleep.
Okay. And what is your favorite feel-good movie?
My favorite feel-good movie is Do you know the film Silver Linings Playbook by David O. Russell? It's an American film, an American director, starring Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper.
In French is Happiness Therapy.
Oh yeah?
We use the English title for the traduce English title normally, but I don't understand why. But
so it's called Happiness Therapy?
Yeah.
Oh wow. So even in the title, you know it's a feel-good film, and I really love that film. They're going through such a tough time, you know, just externally and internally, emotionally. Nonetheless, there's always a warmth, a kind heart within every single character, and you can see that the director loves these characters, and you can see that he has a kind and warm gaze towards them. So I really like that film.
Okay, and if we make the comparison with Guilty Pleasure, for you, is the same thing or is completely different?
Silver Linings Playbook, I think, is incredibly well made, so I won't call it a guilty pleasure film. My guilty pleasure genre is romantic comedies. Despite how they're made, you know, they get an extra star just because they are romantic comedy. I love people coming together, you know, and when we see the first spark of love and their relationship growing, I don't know what it is, but I just feel very good about these films. And despite, even if it's if the craftsmanship isn't as great as, you know, the great masterful films, I find them to be great.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Also, we can make an example with Love Actually, maybe?
Oh, yes. I love Love Actually. It's my favorite Christmas film, along with Die Hard. And it's like a routine now where I have to watch Love Actually every year. And it's so ridiculous, that film, you know, the president falling, the prime minister falling in love. And it's very goofy. And the director successfully wraps it with such a feel-good blanket that it doesn't really matter, and you have to watch it every year.
Yeah, you just enjoy the movie, and the same time is always good.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a final question for all of us. We can watch and listen the podcast. Do you have some advice for people who want to direct a first movie?
For people who want to direct a first movie, I don't think I am in a position to give advice, but what I learned about sleep was you can't be best at everything, and you have to be honest about that, if you know what I mean. Because I didn't go to film school, I always had low self-esteem about my filmmaking skills. I felt nowhere near, although I still do, I don't feel nowhere near as close to the master filmmakers such as Bong Joon-Ho or Kim Ji-woon or Park Chan-wook. I feel oftentimes like a fraud because I don't know like the technical craftsmanship that goes into filmmaking as much as other directors. But I think everybody has strengths and weaknesses, and what you really want to do is highlight your strengths. And if you have a weakness, you have to be very honest and upfront about that with your cast and crew, and they will help you fill in the gaps because they are also professionals in their game. And this sort of honest collaboration is, I think, the key to a successful film. And I really got a lot from this sort of honest communication and collaboration.
Okay, thank you so much, and good luck for your rest of your career.
Thank you very much.
Merci à tous de nous avoir écoutés. Je vous mets en lien dans la description toutes les infos par rapport au film. Donc ça sort le 21 février en France. N'hésitez pas à aller le voir. Et en tout cas, on vous dit à très vite sur un prochain épisode de Nos Plaisirs Coupables.
Merci beaucoup.